The youngest in the Hummer family, H3, has little in common with big brothers, and therefore it has its own typical features. The small Hummer, which appeared in 2005, given the brand's exoticism, sold all over the world not badly. The H3 model was created using the Chevrolet Colorado/GMC Canyon pickup truck platform. But this is not just another body, crammed onto a pickup base. The frame has changed, the front torsion bar and rear spring suspension have been modernized, but the main difference is a different all-wheel drive transmission. H3 got to Russia through 2 channels, either used from North America or new, assembled in Kaliningrad at the Avtotor plant. The latter are the majority, especially since at one time they were sold on a stock with a rather attractive price tag. Let's dwell a little on the features of the domestic assembly, because it seems that some jams are directly related to it. The process itself looked like this. The finished car was brought from overseas to Poland. There, the engine, wheels were dismantled from it, and the body was partially dismantled. Then it was all sent across the customs border, and on the Kaliningrad land they were screwed back, assigning along the way an additional second identification number VIN. The consequences of these games and the designer are manifested primarily by glitches in the electrical part. Weakly screwed wires go into the mass, poor contact and oxidation of the connectors, improperly fixed harnesses. All this spoiled a lot of blood for the owners. Even for the Russian H3, such troubles as shaking and fogging of the headlights are typical. However, purebred Americans in terms of electrics are also not without sin. So, the tire pressure monitoring system in our climate behaves unpredictably. Yes, and the connecting chips of the connectors located below, servicemen recommend sealing. There are cases from the series, yes, he is mocking us, for example, a hatch or a window may stop closing. As the old proverb says, the dead get used to the coffin. In the same way, those who have already bought a Hummer get used to limited visibility in all directions. Of course, the window slits look quite military in style, but it is likely that you will not notice any road user or landscape change through them. Therefore, it is good to know that body parts are not cheap at all. So, for example, the door costs 34,500 rubles, the headlight, not xenon, 12,500 rubles, and the glass of the rear fifth door, 45,500 rubles at all. There are no serious claims to the body, except that without additional wheel arch extensions, the car gets dirty so quickly and badly that you can even take the door handle only with a glove. But stained doors are not so bad, but when the wiper trapezoid breaks, ceasing to clean the windshield from dirt, it becomes completely dreary. Alas, this can happen on a young car. The front independent suspension as a whole is very hardy, but ball bearings usually fall short of 100,000 kilometers on our roads. There are also traditional sources of squeaks in the chassis, bushings in the front anti-roll bar and springs. In the steering, rack leaks are rare, but knocks of various origins are a common occurrence. Usually the cause of knocks is the wear of the cross of the steering shaft. Tie rods for cars of the first years of production were short-lived. Later began to put reinforced. The most common engine, a 5-cylinder 3.5L, 220 horsepower, despite its impressive volume, does not endow the car with decent dynamics. In essence, he is like a heavy horse, can pull a lot of cargo and far. Another engine, also a 3.7L, 244 horsepower, available since 2007, is not much different from a fellow. However, together with a manual gearbox, they behave much more decently. There is even a hint of drive. Well, the top power unit, which appeared in 2008, is a V8 5.3L, 305 horsepower. With dynamics and other things, he is doing well, but still he is quite heavy, and for lovers of driving, fuel consumption with him can reach up to 30 liters per 100. The most common warning message on the dashboard, check engine, is usually related to a failed oxygen sensor or dead catalytic converters, with the exception of the poor contact problem mentioned above. Other troubles that are not related to bad fuel, drowning in air filters clogged with dust, as a rule, do not happen to motors, unless copies of the 2006 issue were recalled to correct the marriage in the valve mechanism. As you already understood, in addition to the 4-speed automatic, manual transmission 5 was installed on the H3. It was completed only with versions with 5-cylinder engines. However, it is difficult to say anything about its reliability, since it is extremely rare. For example, at the time of the submission of the article, out of 99 Hummer H3s for sale on auto.ru, only two were with mechanics. As for the automatic transmission, it is of a rather ancient design and is distinguished by thoughtful reactions, but it is quite reliable. In addition to improper operation and negligent attitude to maintenance in the form of changing the oil and filter, the machine may fail due to leaking oil pipes and oil seals at the junctions. Alas, on many Kaliningrad specimens, leaks in the front drive oil seals were noted even with low mileage. On the other hand, these problems are more related to the first owner. In general, all-wheel drive transmission units do not cause any complaints about their filling, although there are examples when a slightly deformed full-time bottom protection rubbed the transfer case body. The rear differential is standardly equipped with a rigid lock. This mechanism greatly enhances the off-road capabilities of the car. But in the Adventure version there is also a front axle differential lock, and the transfer case has a fantastic number of downshifts, 4.03 versus 2.64 in the standard. In the Arsenal there is a ground clearance of 219 and even 230 millimeters, depending on the version, and a high-mounted air intake, and tiny entry/exit angles, 37.5/35.5, respectively. So off-road, few versatile SUVs can compete with the H3. Although, of course, it is still not worth considering it as a real all-terrain vehicle. Well, let's try to summarize everything that has been said. So, the probability that the H3 will let you down completely, refusing to move, is small, but it can fray your nerves. Although, of course, there are almost trouble-free representatives of this model.